Eric from Phone Scoop here with the Motorola Q9h for AT&T. The Q9h is the first Motorola Q phone to be found on a GSM carrier in the States. The Q and the Q9M were both only for CDMA carriers like Sprint and Verizon. On the front is the speaker indicator light, the QVGA screen, soft keys on the inside, shortcut keys, send-end keys, navigation keys, and a very large QWERTY keyboard that's very easy to use. It's significantly nicer than the one found on the initial Q, and quite possibly one of the best we've ever used. In part, this is due to the width of every key. It's very easy to hit the key that you're looking for. Unfortunately, that makes the Q9h, as well as the Q9M, one of the wider smartphones we've ever seen. In fact, it's almost as wide as the E61i, which is probably the widest smartphone we can think of. As you can see here, the difference in width is minimal. This makes it a little bit more difficult to wrap your hands around the Q9 than around other phones. On the left is a micro SD slot that's relatively easy to get to, a micro USB port for charging, syncing, and accessories. On the right are up and down keys, which are used for volume and navigation, a center select button, and a back button. They aren't necessarily clearly marked, but they're easy to use. On the back is a 2-megapixel camera and flash, and the battery cover, which houses both the battery as well as the speakers for speakerphone and loud music playback. The battery underneath this cover lasts about 3 days with average use. There's also a much larger battery, as you can see, which you can pop in and get much longer life out of. However, then you also have to use this cover, which produces a very large hump in the back of the device. It's not pocketable with this battery on. The keyboard is large and very easy to use, but as you can see, this bottom row is full of shortcut buttons. Normally, it's nice to be able to get to applications quickly. However, oftentimes, when you go to hit the spacebar, you'll hit one of these buttons to the side by accident and wind up opening up other applications instead of just hitting space. The Q9h comes with all of the usual Windows mobile applications. However, Motorola and AT&T have chosen to use the Opera browser instead of Windows Explorer. Opera has a couple of more tricks up its sleeve than Windows Explorer does. However, it is slightly more confusing because there are two menus here. This key-labeled Action is actually a menu that you used for most of the navigation, going to pages, back, forward, etc. And then there's another menu on the right-hand side which gives you access to all of the extras, including a couple of nice ones, like being able to copy out text and address links, as well as changing the display type from single column to something more akin to what you see on your desktop. The Q9h also has GPS built in, which you can use with a number of applications, including Google Maps, Windows Live Search, and Telenav Navigator. We've had a difficult time getting the GPS to work, but have found that with Windows Live Search, we typically can get it to connect to satellites. Although the Q9h has much better battery life than a number of other Windows mobile smartphones that we've tested, we found it didn't quite have the signal strength. We would lose 3G signal pretty quickly in weak coverage areas, and found that we were without coverage a lot more than we typically are. Otherwise, the Q9h is a joy to use. The keyboard is really easy to type on. It's a relatively snappy processor, which keeps you launching programs quickly and moving around with a good deal of speed. The speakerphone is excellent, Bluetooth is great, battery life is good. It's just unfortunate that the GPS and signal strength fall short.